Ladies and gentlemen, have you ever looked in the mirror and wondered, what if my best days are already behind me? Have you ever felt like no matter how hard you try, your past keeps pulling you back? What if I told you that the only thing standing between the life you have and the life you deserve isn't your past? It's the meaning you've attached to it. Listen to me carefully, because what I'm about to share could change the way you see your life forever. Your future is not waiting for permission from your past. Your future is waiting for a decision from you, right here, right now. Have you ever caught yourself saying, maybe I'm just not good enough? Have you ever looked at a mistake you made years ago and allowed it to convince you that your future had already been decided? Think about that for a moment. What if the biggest obstacle in your life isn't what happened to you, but the meaning you've attached to what happened? Because the truth is, the most dangerous prison in the world isn't built with steel bars. It's built with limiting beliefs. And those beliefs are often created by the stories we keep telling ourselves about our past. Every person listening to this has experienced disappointment. Maybe you failed at something you cared deeply about. Maybe someone betrayed your trust. Maybe you lost an opportunity, made a terrible decision, or watched a dream fall apart right in front of your eyes. Those moments hurt. They're real. But here's what you must understand. Painful experiences are events. They are not identities. A failure is something you did. It is not who you are. A rejection is something you experience. It is not your value. One difficult chapter in your life does not have the authority to write the rest of your story unless you hand it the pen. The strongest people in the world aren't the ones who never fell down. They're the ones who refuse to stay on the ground. Every successful entrepreneur, every elite athlete, every world-class performer, every leader you admire has faced moments that could have destroyed their confidence. The difference wasn't that they avoided failure. The difference was that they refused to let failure become their identity. They learned the lesson, carried the wisdom, and left the pain behind. That's exactly what separates ordinary lives from extraordinary ones. Your past should function like a classroom, not a prison cell. In a classroom, you learn, you grow, and then you move forward. In a prison, you stay trapped, reliving the same thoughts, the same fears, and the same excuses every single day. The question is, where are you living? Are you learning from yesterday, or are you serving a life sentence for mistakes that no longer exist? Because every day you continue to define yourself by what went wrong, you give your past permission to steal your future. Here's something remarkable about the human mind. It believes the story you repeat most often. If you constantly tell yourself, I always fail, your brain will search for evidence to support that belief. If you repeat, I'm not capable, you'll begin noticing every reason why you should stop trying. But imagine what happens when you replace that story with a stronger one. Imagine waking up every morning and saying, everything I've been through has prepared me for everything that's coming. My past gave me experience, not limits. Suddenly, your focus changes, your energy changes, your decisions change. And when your decisions change, your life begins to change. Stop measuring your worth by your worst moment. One mistake cannot erase your potential. One failure cannot cancel your purpose. One painful season cannot predict the rest of your life. Diamonds are formed under pressure. Steel is strengthened in fire. And people discover their true strength when they refuse to let adversity define them. The challenges you survived didn't arrive to destroy you. They arrived to reveal a version of yourself you hadn't met yet. So today, make a different choice. Stop introducing yourself through your wounds. Stop carrying labels that no longer belong to you. You are not your failures. You are not your fears. Every world-class performer, every leader you admire, has faced moments that could have destroyed their confidence. The difference wasn't that they avoided failure. The difference was that they refused to let failure become their identity. They learned the lesson, carried the wisdom, and left the pain behind. That's exactly what separates ordinary lives from extraordinary ones. Your past should function like a classroom, not a prison cell. In a classroom, you learn, you grow, and then you move forward. In a prison, you stay trapped, reliving the same thoughts, the same fears, and the same excuses every single day. The question is, where are you living? Are you learning from yesterday, or are you serving a life sentence for mistakes that no longer exist? Because every day you continue to define yourself by what went wrong. You give your past permission to steal your future. Here's something remarkable about the human mind. It believes the story you repeat most often. If you constantly tell yourself, I always fail, your brain will search for evidence to support that belief. If you repeat, I'm not capable, you'll begin noticing every reason why you should stop trying. But imagine what happens when you replace that story with a stronger one. Imagine waking up every morning and saying, everything I've been through has prepared me for everything that's coming. My past gave me experience, not limits. Suddenly, your focus changes. Your energy changes. Your decisions change. And when your decisions change, your life begins to change. Stop measuring your worth by your worst moment. One mistake cannot erase your potential. One failure cannot cancel your purpose. One painful season cannot predict the rest of your life. Diamonds are formed under pressure, steel is strengthened in fire, and people discover their true strength when they refuse to let adversity define them. The challenges you survived didn't arrive to destroy you. They arrived to reveal a version of yourself you hadn't met yet. So today, make a different choice. Stop introducing yourself through your wounds. Stop carrying labels that no longer belong to you. You are not your failures. You are not your fears. You are not the opinions of people who underestimated you. You are a person with experience, resilience, wisdom, and unlimited potential. The past gave you lessons that no classroom ever could. But those lessons were meant to build your future, not become the walls that keep you from it. The moment you stop identifying with what happened yesterday is the moment you finally give yourself permission to become who you were always capable of being. What is the voice inside your head saying to you right now? Is it lifting you up or is it quietly tearing you down? Here's a question that could change your life forever. What if the conversation you have with yourself is shaping every result you experience? Most people spend years trying to change their circumstances, their careers, their relationships, or their income, yet they never stop to change the one thing that influences all of them, the story they tell themselves. Every single day, the truth is, your life will never consistently rise above the beliefs you hold about yourself. Change the story, and you change the direction of your future. Your mind is like the most advanced operating system ever created. It constantly listens to the words you repeat, the thoughts you entertain, and the emotions you reinforce. If you tell yourself, I'm always unlucky, your mind begins looking for evidence to prove you're right. If you keep saying, success isn't meant for people like me, your brain filters out opportunities and focuses only on obstacles before long. Those thoughts stop feeling like opinions, they start feeling like facts. But they were never facts to begin with. They were simply stories repeated so often that you accepted them as reality. Think about how many limiting beliefs people carry without ever questioning them. I'm too old. I'm too young. I'm not talented enough. I failed too many times. People like me never succeed. Those aren't truths. They're conclusions based on temporary experiences. Somewhere along the way, one failure became an identity. One rejection became a prediction. One criticism became a permanent label. But just because you believe something for years doesn't mean it's true. Beliefs are not destiny, they're choices that can be rewritten. Now imagine replacing that old script with a new one. Instead of saying, I can't do this, you begin saying, I'm learning how to do this. Instead of, I failed too many times, you tell yourself, every setback is preparing me for a greater comeback. And instead of focusing on what you've lost, you focus on what you're becoming. Those aren't empty motivational phrases. They're intentional mental commands that direct your focus toward growth instead of fear, and whatever you consistently focus on becomes stronger. Every great achievement begins in the mind before it appears in the real world. Champions don't become confident after they win. They train their minds to believe before the victory arrives. Successful people don't eliminate fear. They refuse to let fear become the loudest voice in their heads. They understand that confidence isn't something you find, it's something you build through consistent thoughts, courageous decisions, and repeated action. The internal dialogue you practice today becomes the reality you experience tomorrow. The incredible thing about your brain is that it doesn't permanently belong to your past. It adapts, it learns, it changes based on repetition. Every time you choose empowering thoughts over limiting ones, you're strengthening a new mental pathway. Every time you reject self-doubt and replace it with purpose, you're teaching your mind to look for you instead of against you. That transformation doesn't happen overnight, but it does happen one thought at a time, one decision at a time, and one belief at a time. So pay attention to the words you speak when no one else is listening. They matter more than you realize. Become the person who encourages yourself, challenges yourself, and believes in your potential even before the results. Up here, stop repeating stories that keep you small. Stop giving your fears the microphone. Begin telling yourself a story filled with growth, resilience, discipline, possibility, and victory. The moment you change the voice within you is the moment the world around you begins to change with it. What if the greatest opportunity of your life isn't waiting somewhere in the future, but is being wasted right now because you're still holding on to yesterday? Think about that. How many hours, days, even years have been lost replaying conversations that can't be changed, regretting decisions that can't be undone, or wishing life had taken a different path? Here's the truth most people never realize. Regret is one of the most expensive emotions you can carry. It demands your time, drains your energy, steals your confidence, and gives you absolutely nothing in return. The longer you live in yesterday, the less power you have to create tomorrow. Every person has something they wish should happen differently. Maybe you trusted the wrong person. Maybe you walked away from an opportunity that could have changed your life. Maybe you failed an exam, lost a business, ended a relationship, or made a decision that still haunts you years later. Those moments can leave scars, but they don't have to leave chains. There's a massive difference between remembering the past and living inside it. One helps you grow, the other keeps you stuck. Every time you replay an old mistake without learning from it, you're allowing an event that is already over to control a life that is still unfolding. Ask yourself this powerful question. If today were the first page of a brand new chapter, would you keep writing the same story? Because every morning, life quietly hands you a blank page. It doesn't ask about yesterday's failures. It doesn't remind you of your regrets. It simply gives you another chance to decide who you're going to become. Yet so many people waste that opportunity because they spend today's energy fighting yesterday's battles. You cannot build an extraordinary future while constantly carrying emotional baggage from a past that no longer exists. The reality is simple but powerful. You cannot change what happened yesterday, no matter how much you think about it. No amount of guilt will rewrite the past. No amount of worry will improve what has already been done. But one courageous decision today can completely change the direction of your future. The present moment is where your influence lives. It's where your choices matter. It's where your habits are formed, your discipline is built, and your dreams begin to take shape. Every successful life is built one intentional day at a time, not by wishing for a different yesterday. Many people believe they need to feel motivated before they move forward, but that's not how transformation works. Action creates momentum. Momentum creates belief. Belief creates confidence. The moment you stop asking, well, why did this happen to me? And start asking, what can I do today to become stronger? Everything begins to shift. Your attention moves away from problems and toward possibilities. Instead of becoming a prisoner of regret, you become a builder of progress. That single shift in focus has the power to transform not only your mindset, but your entire life. Life rewards the people who are willing to show up today with everything they have, even if yesterday didn't go their way. Champions don't spend their lives mourning missed opportunities. They create new ones. They understand that every sunrise is an invitation to begin again. Every new day offers another chance to learn, improve, and move one step closer to the person they want to become. They don't ignore the past. They simply refuse to let it become more important than the present. Right now, this very moment, you have a choice. You can continue carrying regret like a heavy weight that slows every step you take, or you can set it down and use your energy to build something greater. The future isn't created by dwelling on what you've lost. It's created by maximizing what you do today. Your greatest opportunity isn't hidden in yesterday's memories. It's waiting in today's decisions. Every action you take, every positive habit you build, and every courageous step forward becomes another brick in the foundation of the life you've always dreamed of living. What if the very thing you've been trying to avoid is actually the thing that's capable of transforming your life? Think about that for a moment. What if your greatest pain is hiding your greatest purpose? Most people spend their lives asking, why is this happening to me? But the people who create extraordinary lives ask a different question. How can I use this to become stronger? That single shift in perspective changes everything. Pain can either become the anchor that keeps you trapped in the past or the fuel that launches you into a future you never thought was possible. The choice has always been yours. Every successful person you admire has faced moments that could have broken them. They experienced rejection, failure, criticism, heartbreak, uncertainty, and setbacks that seemed impossible to overcome. The difference wasn't that they suffered less than everyone else. The difference was that they refused to waste their pain. Instead of allowing disappointment to define them, they transformed it into determination. Instead of allowing obstacles to stop them, they used every obstacle as a reason to become more disciplined, more focused, and more resilient. They understood something powerful. Adversity doesn't create weakness, it reveals strength that was already there. Think about how diamonds are formed. They begin as ordinary carbon buried deep beneath the earth, exposed to unimaginable pressure over time. Without that pressure, there would be no diamond. The same principle applies to human potential. Pressure isn't always your enemy. Sometimes it's the force that's shaping you into someone stronger, wiser, and more capable than you've ever been before. The challenges you're facing today may feel overwhelming, but they could be preparing you for responsibilities and opportunities you aren't ready to see yet. Don't judge your future based on your current struggle. One of the biggest mistakes people make is believing that pain automatically makes them stronger. It doesn't. Pain only becomes powerful when you decide to learn from it. Two people can go through the exact same experience, and one becomes bitter while the other becomes better. One spends years blaming circumstances while the other uses the experience to grow. The difference isn't found in what happened. It's found in how they responded. Your response to adversity is far more important than adversity itself. That's where real transformation begins. Instead of asking, why did I fail? Ask yourself, what did this experience teach me? Instead of saying, my life is falling apart, begin asking, what new strength is being built inside me? Every setback contains a lesson that success could never teach. Failure teaches humility. Rejection teaches resilience. Loss teaches gratitude. Hardship teaches patience. These aren't punishments. They're preparation. The strongest version of yourself is often built during the seasons that tested you the most. Your scars are not signs that you're weak. They are proof that you survived battles that once seemed impossible. Every challenge you've overcome has given you wisdom that someone else desperately needs. One day, the story you're struggling through today may become the encouragement that inspires another person to keep going. Never underestimate the value of what you've endured. The pain you refuse to surrender to becomes part of the strength you carry into every future opportunity. Stop wishing for an easier life and start building a stronger mindset. The world doesn't reward people who never experience difficulties. It rewards people who refuse to quit when difficulties appear. Every challenge is an invitation to rise higher. Every obstacle is an opportunity to grow beyond your comfort zone. Every painful experience can become a stepping stone instead of a stumbling block when you choose courage over fear and purpose over self-pity. The moment you stop seeing pain as your enemy and start treating it as your greatest teacher, you unlock a level of resilience, confidence, and inner strength that no circumstance can ever take away. Have you been waiting for the perfect moment to begin? Waiting until you feel more confident, more prepared, more experienced, or more certain? Here's a question that could completely change the direction of your life. What if confidence isn't something you find before you act, but something you build because you act? Most people believe successful individuals wake up feeling fearless every day. They imagine that champions, entrepreneurs, leaders, and high achievers are somehow born with unshakable confidence. But that's not how success works. Confidence is not the starting line. It is the reward for repeatedly taking action despite fear. Think about a child learning to walk. That child doesn't wait until they feel confident before taking the first step. They fall, stand up, stumble again, and keep trying until walking becomes natural. Imagine if that child decided after the first fall, maybe walking just isn't for me. It sounds ridiculous, yet millions of adults live exactly that way. They attempt something once, experience failure, and immediately convince themselves they're not capable. They mistake temporary discomfort for permanent inability. But every expert was once a beginner, and every master was once someone who had absolutely no idea what they were doing. Fear is a unique way of disguising itself as logic. It whispers, wait until next month, do more research. You're not ready yet. What if people judge you before long? Weeks turn into months. Months become years, and dreams slowly fade, not because they weren't possible, but because action was constantly postponed. Perfection becomes the enemy of progress. The truth is, there will never be a perfect time. Conditions will never be flawless. You'll never have every answer before you begin. Growth happens while you're moving, not while you're waiting. Every meaningful achievement starts with one uncomfortable decision. The first speech is terrifying. The first business idea feels uncertain. The first workout is exhausting. The first investment seems risky. The first conversation you've been avoiding feels intimidating, but every time you choose action over hesitation, you send a powerful message to yourself: I am stronger than my excuses. That single decision begins reshaping your identity. You're no longer someone who talks about change. You become someone who creates it. Momentum is one of the most powerful forces in life. One small action leads to another. One completed task builds motivation for the next. One courageous decision creates belief that wasn't there before. You don't need to transform your entire life overnight. You simply need to take the next step. Small, consistent actions performed every day will always outperform occasional bursts of motivation. Discipline carries you where emotions cannot. While others wait to feel inspired, disciplined people continue moving forward. And that's why they eventually achieve extraordinary results. Failure should never be feared. It should be expected, studied, and used. Every setback contains information that moves you closer to success. Each mistake teaches you what doesn't work and points you toward what does. The people who eventually succeed aren't the ones who avoid failure. They're the ones who refuse to let failure become the final chapter. They adapt, improve, and keep going because they understand that progress is built through persistence, not perfection. Right now, there's something you've been delaying, a dream you've been talking about, a goal you've been planning, a decision you've been avoiding. Stop waiting for certainty, because certainty is created through action, not before it. The life you want is built one bold step at a time. Every action strengthens your character, expands your abilities, and increases your confidence. The moment you stop asking for permission, stop waiting for perfect conditions, and choose to move forward despite uncertainty, you begin becoming the person capable of achieving everything you've been dreaming about. What if 1 year from today, you could look back and realize that this was the exact moment your life changed forever? Not because you got lucky, not because someone rescued you, but because you made one powerful decision to stop living by your past and start creating your future. Think about it. The life you dream about isn't built by chance. It isn't reserved for a select few. It's created by the choices you make every single day. Your future is not something that simply happens to you. It is something you build, one decision, one habit, and one action at a time. Too many people treat the future like a mystery instead of a responsibility. They hope things will somehow get better, yet they continue making the same choices that produced yesterday's results. Hope is important, but hope without action changes nothing. Wishing won't transform your life. Dreaming alone won't create success. Your future responds to commitment, consistency, and discipline. Every decision you make today is like casting a vote for the person you're becoming tomorrow. The question isn't whether you're creating your future. You already are. The real question is, are you creating the future you truly want? Imagine two versions of yourself standing side by side. One continues making excuses, procrastinating, doubting every opportunity, and allowing fear to make every important decision. The other chooses discipline over comfort, growth over excuses, courage over fear, and progress over perfection. Fast forward 5 years, and those two lives look completely different. The difference wasn't talent. It wasn't luck. It wasn't intelligence. It was the daily decisions that seemed small in the moment but became life-changing over time. Great lives are rarely built through one massive breakthrough. They're built through thousands of intentional choices that most people never notice. Your habits are quietly designing your destiny. The way you spend your mornings, the books you read, the conversations you have, the people you surround yourself with, and the standards you set for yourself all become the foundation of your future. Success is not an event, it's a pattern. Excellence isn't something you do once, it's something you practice consistently until it becomes part of who you are. Every positive habit strengthens your identity. Every disciplined action reinforces the belief that you're becoming someone capable of achieving extraordinary things. There will always be distractions competing for your attention. There will always be people who doubt your vision, criticize your ambition, or tell you to settle for less than you're capable of becoming. Never allow someone else's limited expectations to become the ceiling on your potential. Your responsibility isn't to convince everyone else that your dreams are possible. Your responsibility is to prove it to yourself through relentless action. The world eventually believes in people who first choose to believe in themselves. Understand this powerful truth. Your future is flexible. It is not fixed by your background, your circumstances, your age, or your previous mistakes. Every new day gives you another opportunity to change direction. Every decision to learn, improve, work harder, forgive, grow, and stay committed moves you closer to the life you deserve. The moment you accept full responsibility for your future is the moment you reclaim your personal power. Responsibility isn't a burden, it's freedom, because it reminds you that your next chapter is still yours to write. Picture yourself years from now living with confidence because you refused to quit when life became difficult. Picture yourself achieving goals that once felt impossible because you kept showing up, even on the days when motivation disappeared.